On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great time. Now, I want everybody to understand right up front, there is the optics side of this, but then there's also stuff that's going to be happening behind the scenes. I definitely think the behind the scenes stuff has already started. I think that bombing in Nashville has a big part to do with that. Got some extra information to kind of add to this to kind of hopefully paint that picture for you. Also got some other interesting news articles, and I think really a strong showing of what the plan is if things don't happen the way they're going to. Let's put it that way. This guy in the center, I think, is going to be playing a large role in our moving forward. I want to thank everybody. If you haven't liked, subscribed, thumbs up, all that, please do so. Bell notification icon, all that stuff. A lot of us channels here trying to be a little more supportive of the Patriots are having harder times, so please, if any way you can help, it's always good times. Now, authorities are recovered or have recovered human remains at the scene after this Nashville RV bombing. Now, they pretty much know exactly who this individual is. And if you look at the picture here, this is a very distinguishing looking RV. And it's got the stripe down the side. Pay attention. It's got the couple windows on each side. We've got the top where you've got two centerpieces here, and then there's a couple little funkies going on the sides, and then another centerpiece. Well, they've got this Google Maps image. I don't think I can zoom in on this. No, I can't. But you can see the solid white line. You can see two bulges. You can kind of see a couple things here on the side. Those are a little weaker. I don't think they stick up as much. But you can definitely see the back center part. The windows look similar. So again, it's that long extended cab relative to the thing up front. I mean, pretty sure that's the guy. Now, this guy was in certain technology field and all that. Now, I just want to say, a lot of things can happen in a lot of ways, and I'm not going to speculate exactly how this did play out. But this has every feel to being an op. Whether this was an asset that was just kind of a little outside of his mind, and I've got some examples to sort of demonstrate that, or maybe this was literally an op where an individual was kind of sacrificed for the greater good. Again, I still have a hard time with this being a deep state operation. Again, I'm not claiming I know for sure, but if this were a deep state option, I don't think they would have warned people before the explosion. I don't. Deep state's all about terror. Terror. They would have loved to have had a terror event anywhere that could scare people that now they're bombing us. So it wasn't. They had a warning. They gave people a chance. Now, I've shown some interesting photos that may suggest there was something else going on, but for the most part, it's a lot easier to assume this thing probably had some explosives packed into it. And it looks like it's entirely possible that this was the same one that was at this gentleman's house. Gentleman's probably maybe a stretch. Now, they're calling it a likely suicide. They're already preparing a narrative. There's already a narrative being prepared. There's already remains that have been identified, which is weird, right? Because think about it. Again, I'm not saying I'm sure on this. I'm just throwing out some interesting ideas. If this individual was sick in the head and wanted to kill himself, the fact that he, 1, filled up an RV, 2, then parked it in front of a street, then 3, gave a whole lot of people warning to get away, making a spectacle of himself, and doing it in front of a very interesting location, this AT&T location. We're going to get a little extra information on that. So they're already painting the picture that this was a suicide bomber. And it could have been. We've seen a lot of very interesting situations where people seem to lose their minds in weird ways. Sometimes people just behave in a strange way. Like all the friends come up afterward and they're like, nah, he was like the nicest guy. He was totally cool and calm. And well, come to find out, he filled up a truck full of bombs and then blew up a building. But I don't know if you guys have done this. Back in my senior year, we had a senior night and we had a hypnotist. And hypnotists are crazy. They're people I don't trust, and I would never allow myself to be hypnotized. I just don't think I trust anyone enough with my subconscious mind. It scares the crap out of me. That being said, I saw good friends of mine doing crazy things, and I found like a minute and a half here that I hoped would demonstrate how easy it is to affect people in a way where they'll just act normal before and after, but that you can actually input thoughts, you can actually set up different triggers. If any of you have ever seen a hypnotist, Seriously, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that haven't, this little snippet hopefully helps. But if not, just find a good video online. It will blow you away. It's funny as hell. And it's especially funny when you see people you know that are behaving outside of their normal parameters. But let's just check out about a minute and a half of this.
Better, the more incredible this smell becomes. Every breath that you will take will cause this smell to become more and more interesting, more and more irresistible. On the count of 3, you instantly realize the person sitting closest to you, for some reason, they will have the most wonderful, the most incredible aroma you will ever experience. You will keep your eyes closed. You will very, very obviously begin to sniff at that person. The closer you get to this smell, the better this smell becomes. 1, 2, and 3. What the hell is that? Is that smell from that person right? Next to you, is that smell from that person right? Next to you, as you get even closer to that smell right there from that person right. That is an amazing smell right there. As that smell is the only thing that is on your mind, is that aroma, that smell from that person right next to you. They smell incredible. The closer you get to the smell, the better. The more interesting that smell becomes. Every breath that you will take is that smell, the only thing that is on your mind. Is that smell is absolutely amazing from that person right next to you. You have no idea what that is that smell. The only thing that is on your mind is that aroma. That smell from that person right next to you is that smell.
So again, you can impact people. You can affect people. You can influence people. And if you hear the way it goes, and if you actually listen to the way they do hypnotizing, is it's suggestive. And if you look at the way the media is, if you look at the way commercials are, seriously, this is something that I would recommend you do a little watching just to learn about, because the suggestive nature of the way our minds work are unbelievable. But on top of that, when people are actually mentally ill, maybe they've got some issues, and sometimes they will go under hypnosis. There's been some very specific doctors that have popped up in some of these stranger cases, these mass event cases that sometimes happen, such as what we're experiencing. So sometimes we'll find that these people have gone through hypnosis. And hypnosis is a very interesting time because, again, you're trusting someone completely with your subconscious. And when you open up your subconscious to somebody else, they can put triggers in there. They can suggest things in there. So, again, this suspect who detonated this bomb in Nashville, he may have, this is what they're saying now, the mayor says he may have targeted this AT&T building. May have. And that's interesting because, I don't know, maybe he was a former employee. Maybe we'll find that out, even though he had his own security company doing something right. But maybe he had some sort of grudge. They'll come up with some Facebook posts or something that he had that'll show that he had hatred for this building. And we've also heard there may be definite NSA ties to it. But what we're also possibly finding out, seems reported in the National File, SolarWinds parent company owned a data center affected by the Nashville Christmas Day bomb until 2015. So recently, SolarWinds was a part of this particular location, maybe changed up their ownership, maybe renamed it, who knows? Who knows exactly how that played out? Maybe that's when the NSA got in there. Maybe they had some stuff already back-ended into the systems that were taken over. Who knows? But there's no question about it that the fact that SolarWinds, even in the same breath within this story, within this NSA AT&T location, is very peculiar, especially when you have a guy that fills up a truck full of explosives. Again, don't know how it's going to play out. We're going to find more, but I do think this was an op. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think whatever was in this NSA switch, this AT&T location, I think was something that was being utilized in a dark, evil, bad way. Or, and there was some suspicion, I've heard stories anyways, rumors, that this location was actually going to do the analysis on the SolarWinds issue. So again, not sure, but this sure looks like a white hat hit. It absolutely does to me. I don't, if this was Deep State, I just don't think they would have let a good catastrophe go to waste. I don't. So anyway, we'll see what plays out, but I do believe this is what suggests that things have already started. Now, we've got the optics side of things, which is what's going to be frustrating for most people. Most people don't actually see what's going on, right? We've got scary things happening, but we don't necessarily know for sure that might have been a very cool thing that just happened. And fortunately, it doesn't sound like it killed anyone other than the one set of remains that have been found, which is surprising, right? A big boom, as they would say in The Fifth Element, that only led to one casualty. Like, wow. And very likely we're going to find out it's the guy that had the truck. So the optics side of it is this whole presidential election thing, this whole getting people to wake up to China, Iran, to get people to wake up to what the politicians in our country are doing, to give people a chance to pay close attention and scrutinize the decisions that our politicians are making. For example, like this stimulus COVID bill that Trump basically vetoed, that was veto-proof. And now we're going to hear about it Monday. This is going to be a big deal coming up this week. But the fact that stimulus bill got vetoed and they were basically calling out all the crap that was in it, the fact that it was 5,500 pages on top of that, and Trump's like, no, and I want more money given to Americans. This is ridiculous. It's not their fault, blah, blah, blah. And this guy here, this news group, and I'm not going to play the video because this guy just makes bile come up from the inside of my stomach. It's just horrible. But talk about any political benefit potentially for the president. Obviously, if Americans are hearing, hey, the president wants to get me more money, that's a good thing. But the deal is done, and the president's own administration member, right? He's just like, I don't know what his possible political motivations could be. Something that might be foreign to some of these guys in the deep state media, seriously, might be foreign to them, is the idea of actually helping the people. See, the deep state media, the ones that actually get to the places of these news agencies where they've got a giant megaphone, they understand that the people are just useless eaters. And that's all they're here to do is just be annoying. So we in the media are meant to control that. That's the thought process. So the idea of helping people, certainly Americans, is absurd. But the idea of creating more chaos, more pandemonium, more division, now that's right up my alley. Again, the optics of what's happening is not just, what's the president doing? What's he doing about this? It's not just that. It's what the deep state's presenting to us. It's what the deep state's doing to us. It's what the deep state's trying to pass. It's what we, as awakening people, are starting to see. Like this, for example. This blows my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. Federal judge orders whistleblowers who expose the illicit trafficking of the fetal parts of the Planned Parenthood. I can't show video and all that. It's just horrific. Anyways, it's just horrific. And if you haven't heard of all the horrific things that the executives of Planned Parenthood have been accused of, you do some independent research. I'm not covering it right here, but let's just say it's horrific. Just maybe take my word for it of what they were doing and then selling after what they had already done. Now, also, you can question the whole concept of what Planned Parenthood's supposed to do. Tends to be in these more community centers, and when you start to look at how abortions work in this world and the percentages of the way they affect human beings or the certain groups, again, it's just, there's a lot of tie-ins. That being said, they sued the people that whistle blew. The people that knew about it, that whistle blew, that went out and said, hey, this is happening. This is happening. Body parts of children being sold for medicine, for study, whatever. Call it what you want, but, okay, that's still just nasty. They got fined. The whistleblowers got fined $13.6 million. Just want you to pay attention to what's actually happening out there. This is what they're presenting to us. This is their version of the world that they're trying to cram down our throat. Now, is there sort of an undercurrent of stuff happening right now? Yes. Is there this silent majority that's going to be certainly beginning to show themselves? And on the 6th of January and the 5th in Georgia are going to make themselves very known. So a lot's going on, and they're, from an optics standpoint, trying to bring it to our attention. Mike Pompeo's been talking a lot about And this is a newer article, but it's actually older information. I was a little disappointed, but I felt it made a great talking point from the standpoint of what this guy's doing and how he's really speaking out about how China has not only infiltrated our schools and the way we do research, right? Research grants, a lot of them are coming from China. We do the research within our education systems with our technology and then feed them all the information. Then on top of that, they send students here. And then these students learn and find out and send all that information back. So they're stealing information. And on top of that, they're taking technology, but now we're seeing they've definitely infiltrated government. They're making this a big point because, like Rudy Giuliani says, when the shizzle hits the fan, even though he used a different word, there's a lot of evidence. People are complicit. Votes have already been made. McConnell, on that last vote for that crap bill, that the news can't figure out why anybody would want to try to give people more money. That's silly. Right? We've been destroyed, annihilated. People's businesses have been shut down because of the government. And when you're wondering why people should get a little more than $600 they got, I don't know, way back in March, April, and then, oh yeah, they were supposed to get another $600 check a month later, and that took 8 months to finally pass, and now you're seriously finally just going to give $600 like 8 months later. It's insane. So a lot is going on. Optics playing out. People are finding out how much corruption exists, how many people are in bed with China, how many people are like, what China? There's no China. It's Russia. It's all Russia. It's almost like if they're telling you it's the enemy, odds are it's not. Right? They think Trump's the enemy. They think Trump's in bed with Russia. Who else? Anyone who's a Republican is instantly associated with the white supremacists, which I don't think, I would say pretty much all of us dislike white supremacists, right? And if you're a white supremacist watching my show, I don't know, just don't let me know you're a white supremacist because I don't like that. Don't like the N-word. Don't use it. That kind of stuff, right? So that being said, not cool, but we're being brought to the attention. It's being shown to us. Not cool. That's cool, I should say. Now, something that I just think adds a little, gas on the fire, maybe. Iranian president says, Madman Trump will be hanged like Saddam Hussein. Granted, his accent was probably way different, and I'm pretty sure he said it in Farsi and not, English. But that being said, imagine him saying it that way. Madman Trump hung in the streets. Now, of course, just want to remind people, now is the time to make yourself known and your presence is known and the numbers known. The silent majority can no longer be silent because if this doesn't play out the way it should, which I'm reasonably sure it's going to, but it requires us all to have our parts, like reaching out to your senator and telling them that this matters, that the integrity of the election matters, that they better be one of the people that stand up against this vote on the 6th or else. So again, www.senate.gov, www.house.gov. Go to those locations, find out who you got to reach out to, send them an email, call them on the phone, whatever you want to do. This is the time. Because anybody that's pro-GOP after this, if Trump's not still in office, then they're coming after all of us next. They've already said it. They've made no bones about it. And this kind of stuff is normal rhetoric that's okay to say. And on top of that, what else we get to look forward to that they're showing us? Optics. This is what they're showing us. That scientists are going to demand that England go into a strict lockdown immediately. They've got that new cove. They've got the new one, some new version of it. Don't even know anything about it. And South Africa had the problem too, which is kind of interesting, these two particular locations. And also, bad man England, also with the Brexit and trying to get out of the European Union, kind of like what Trump has been doing. Coincidence? I don't know. But they seem to be the boogeyman right now, don't they? It almost makes me wonder if there's some undercurrents of things happening because they know, and from what I've read, the intelligence agencies of the world right now do understand who is actually going to be president. Remember, Trump has stopped packing. He's told all of his people in the White House to stop packing. They've stopped giving briefings to Biden. Something's up. It is happening now. The storm is here. Anything can happen any day. Remember our other channels, BitChute, Rumble. I've got links below, Minds and Parlor. I'm there just, trying to link everyone back to the videos ultimately, but I do share some stuff occasionally on Minds and Parlor, like news stories I find that are pretty cool. But usually I try to incorporate them into my videos. That being said, a lot is going on, folks. It's happening quickly. There's a lot being shown to us. Understand that just because they're showing their hand doesn't mean that's going to happen. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. But it does mean that's what they're trying to do. And I think this is where enough people have awoken. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but I have been feeling that rising tide. I've been feeling it energetically. Stuff's happening. People are waking up. Democrats are waking up to this even. There are a lot of people that are starting to realize something is not right. Let's keep that olive branch available. Let's remember, united, we are strong. United. That's the only way forward as a country, as a group, as a neighborhood. You must be united together for a common cause, a common good, a common something. Let's be on that together. Let's be heading in that direction together. It's important to remember, where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.